What's up everyone? I'm okay. What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk to you about my student teaching experience. But before I can talk to you about my student teaching experience, I need to talk to you a little bit about my teaching credential experience that kind of led me to have the student teaching experience that I had. Starting out, I went to Biola University and I intended to only get my teaching credential. I did not intend on getting my master's. I wasn't really sure, and then I thought it's too expensive, so then I figured I'm just gonna do my teaching credential first and then we'll see what happens after that. I was a full-time student. I was taking 6 classes per semester. If you don't know what student teaching is, it's basically as a student, you go into a classroom and you work full-time, 40 hours a week for free. Okay, so I was very worried about how I would pay for my bills and how I would survive, considering I'd have to work for 4 months for free. So I had a whole year to just kind of save, work really hard, and make sure that I can survive student teaching. I was living at home with my parents, but I had a friend who lived at Biola, and so she let me stay over her house whenever the commute was getting to be too much. And I just had to get very strategic with my scheduling. I planned everything out and I made sure I didn't forget anything. So during my credential program, I had 5 jobs. 5 part-time jobs in order to survive financially, in order to save for those 4 months that I wouldn't be working. So here's how I did it. Number 1, I worked for a nonprofit organization that's actually started by my church. I was going to school full-time, but I also needed to work. So they told me as long as I put in 20 hours a week, I could pretty much choose what time I wanted to come in. Then I also did homework club at a private school, and I did their after-school program. That was from 2 to 6. That allowed me to keep my church job, but also to work at an after school, and that was only twice a week. So on top of your teaching credentials and taking classes, you have to do fieldwork hours. Fieldwork hours is a fancy way of saying you need to go volunteer at a school and observe and do studies on what you see at the school, but also participate and help the teacher. So pretty much all of my classes were night classes. I think I had 1 that was in the morning, but pretty much everything was from 4 to 10. So Billy, shh. On Saturdays, twice a month, I had 8-hour classes. It was really intense, but I made it. I was also still doing my babysitting, my tutoring, house sitting, and I also, on the Saturdays that I didn't have class, I would do something called street food cinema. It's like an outdoor movie theater type of thing, and so I would just scan wristbands and do like the cashier stuff. Okay, moving into my student teaching experience, I was in a 4th grade classroom and we had 34 students. Because it was a public school and there's just a lot of kids there. I had a great master teacher. She had been teaching for 30 years, and so she knew a lot and she shared with me a lot of things, but it was rough because they only have PE for 30 minutes a day, and that's the only prep time the teachers would get. And so if you need to use the restroom, you just kind of hold it, and it was just really difficult because at my school right now we have TAs that help, but if you gotta go use the restroom and you're the only adult in the classroom, you can't go. And then during your recess and your lunch, you're spending time making copies. During that time, basically for the first 2 weeks, I just watched. I observed, I got to know the students, and then the teacher also just kind of showed me and talked me through how she plans. But I would go in at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then I would stay until 3:30, and then I had class from 4:30 to 10. So you still have class during your student teaching time, but it was only once a week, so that wasn't too bad. So I was at the low-income school for 2 months, and then the next 2 months I actually did my student teaching abroad in Prague in the Czech Republic. That was an experience. I had never been to Europe before, and then I decided, well, I'm gonna live there for 2 months and I'm gonna teach these students that I don't know. I'm gonna talk with families I don't know and in a country that I don't know. I was very ambitious, and the minute I got there I was so homesick. Prague is beautiful, has a very special place in my heart because I really learned a lot about myself as an individual, but it was it was difficult, and all of the people I worked with are so kind. They try to make me feel at home, but I was just really homesick and it was really cold. It was about 30 degrees, while in California at the time it was about 70 degrees, and so I was just really homesick. But it was definitely an experience I will never forget. And so there, because it was an international Christian school, I got to see students who, you know, got to learn about the Bible, got to memorize Bible verses, but then also I got to teach them math and I got to teach them reading. And so it was nice to kind of see the cultures come together. Korean students, there were American students, there were Czech students, so it was very cool. And I highly recommend it if you can do part of your student teaching abroad, but definitely it's nice if you know someone there, because I didn't know anyone. And so I did travel every other weekend to a different country, and I would meet up with people that I knew that were for some reason in Europe. But yeah, it was definitely an experience, but I did it and I survived financially. So that's my student teaching experience and a little bit of my teaching credential experience. Way better than my undergrad experience. My undergrad experience was rough. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe, and let me know if you have any teacher questions, but also make sure you check out the other videos on my channel that are about whether you should become a teacher, if you think teaching is right for you. I have videos that will hopefully answer those questions for you. Bye!